Hi there, Natalie with you today with a new process video for Pinkfresh Studio. And today I want to show you a new project created using the Just a Little Lovely collection. And this collection is gorgeous, beautiful designs, a lot of watercolor backgrounds, beautiful florals. But there's something new that's coming to Pinkfresh Studio, and those are cut files. And these have been designed to match the designs in each one of the collections, especially for the office hours ones and the Just a Little Lovely. So what I've done outside of the camera is actually manipulated one of the cut files, not manipulated, but just isolated the floral part of a frame because I want to use them to kind of nestle my picture. And the idea came because I really love the Hope paper, and it's this paper that has the beautiful edge of design followed by the watercolor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut all the white part that you see underneath the design. I'm going to be careful to take all the white pieces, but I want to take it in one single strip because I'm going to use that actually in the next project. So you're going to see that I actually took it off camera, and now my idea is I am actually going to move the curvature, I'm going to say that curvy line that I created fussy cutting in to the center of the page. For that, I am going to use some double-sided tape to glue this paper that I fussy cut to a piece of double thickness cardstock because I'm going to add mixed media, but I'm going to move it so that it kind of sits in the middle of the page. So once I have that in place, and the beauty of it that is really easy to do it because the B side of this paper has a grid. So I just follow the line, added my double-sided tape, and just glue it in place. Once I have that in place, I'm going to cut the excess part of the paper because it's going to be a little bit of the green part or the teal part that is going to be extra. So I'm just going to fussy cut that part and save it because I'm going to use it for another project. So now that I have that ready, my idea is I want to add some color. I don't want to leave it teal, but I want to add some color. But before I do that, I'm going to make sure that even though this picture is going to change, the idea is that I want to add my cut file so that they follow that curvature. And I'm going to place my picture right is where the flower kind of dip. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to prep the page to hold the mixed media one, but I want to haze a little bit of the green space behind where I'm going to add all the colors because I want to make sure that the colors stand nicely and they show the real color. I don't want them to mix with the green and create like a muddy tone. So for that, I could have used yeso, but I had a white acrylic paint I had. It doesn't work the same, but I think my idea is when you add yeso, kind of like it doesn't cover the area. It's going to take a few coats of the yeso, but white acrylic paint has like a thicker consistency and a little bit more pigmentation. So it actually is going to cover some of the florals, and I'm okay with that. You're going to see that I kind of fade the paint a little bit towards the edges of the paper, but I'm not going to do anything to I'm going to say the edges of that little fussy cut line because I do want the images to show there, but I want to make sure that the area where I'm going to put the cut file kind of like take away the image so that it's a blank space. Now that I have that, I make sure that I completely dry before I continue working. Is I'm going to play with the liquid watercolors from Pinkfresh Studio to create my background. And my idea is I want to have splashes of color kind of peeking from behind the picture. So I'm going to use, my inspiration was the paper with the wreath. The B side of the paper has like a rainbow tone of all the colors that the collection has. But I'm going to, because I already have all that amount of green and teal on the background, I'm going to bring yellows, then pinks, then oranges, a little bit of purple to the background. So for this, I am going to use the violet, the candy apple, the bubble gum. I don't know if the orange, I always keeps my name, the orange tone, a little bit of the yellow, and also the aquamarine. These are all for Pinkfresh Studio. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of the bubble gum to the violet, and that's just going to take a little bit of the coolness of the color when I warm it up a little bit. And you're going to see that I'm going to put it in my paper because it's a little bit pigmented. I'm just going to dry it up. And that's the beauty of having either yeso or white acrylic paint on the background, is that just the paint stays afloat a little bit longer. It doesn't soak into the paper, so I'm able to play with it. So now that I know the colors actually go nicely in the background, I'm gonna start adding it, like actually working my mixed media. And for that, I'm gonna add a splatter of water. You're gonna see that I'm working with two brushes or just one. And the first thing I do is add a little bit of water and then add the pigment, in this case the liquid watercolor, on top of the splatter, and that's just going to help me move or spread the watercolor at the same time that it's diluted. So Again, I could have used the packaging technique, but I want just to add in splatters. Like I said, my idea was to have an explosion of color behind the picture. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna add little bits of pink and orange, and I'm gonna bring the picture every so often just to make sure that when I'm adding my mixed media, it's actually gonna peek from behind the picture and that I'm not covering too much of an area. The key to working with mixed media is to go small, and sometimes it's scary. Mixed media can be scary, not just because people think that it's complicated and it's not as easy. It's all about practice, but mostly because it looks really messy. um, but the key here, like I said, is to go small. Just start with a small area, bring your picture in and out so you make sure that you don't have too much. Don't just go create a background and then freak out after. So we'll talk about a little bit more about that. Now my idea is that I also want to bring some of the color that I'm adding on the background onto the white part of this layer. So you're gonna see me do is that I'm gonna lift at some of the little edge that I cut. I'm gonna lift it. I'm gonna add a little bit of water and the pigment, and then I'm gonna lift up the paper and really tap it onto my desk, and you're gonna see how like organically the drips are gonna create. And I'm loving what that looks like, especially because I'm able to bring all those colors that I'm using at top on my little background onto the white part of the paper, kind of like joining the two sides together. And it's gonna bring I don't want it to be so white, but I want it to be like completely covering color. So the drips are a great addition to this layout, and not just because it brings color, but it's gonna also elongate the design a little bit. And I'm just gonna continue. Like I said, I'm gonna bring some of the warm tones. You're gonna see that I'm gonna kind of spread a little bit of the color underneath the paper that I fussy cut, just slightly. I'm gonna bring a little bit of aquamarine to the bottom of the page, just because I have all the tones, like the background, the upper part of the background is all that greenish, kind of tealish sorry tone. You're gonna bring a little bit of those drips to the bottom and lots of splatters. My this project was full of splatters. I worked on splatters. I love working with splatters. It's personal choice, but it actually worked really nice on this layout. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna bring in a little bit of yellow, just because one of the papers, they have a little bit like little accents of yellow. So I'm gonna bring just a little bit, just to the top part of, like, kind of think of a rectangle that I'm creating to frame my picture, and just a little bit, just a little portion of the yellow to some parts of the bottom part of the fussy cut edge, just because I want to bring those tones that you're gonna see on my cut file. So now, just to finish my not my layout, my background, I'm just gonna add a few splatters of gold ink, and I'm gonna set it aside to dry completely. Now what I've done outside the camera is started backing my cut files, and for that, like I said, I'm gonna bring some of the purples, some of the oranges, some of the pinks, and I pulled a few papers from the collection. There's different ways to back in a cut file, but the way I'm gonna go is I'm just gonna add with my little fine tip glue bottle. I'm gonna add glue just to the edge of each of the flowers, glue it on the place on the color or the piece of paper that I want to back it with, and I'm just gonna really fussy cut it. Now what I did also outside the camera is just added a few pieces of paper behind the picture, just so it brings some of the same tones that I'm using to back the flowers, and I want it to stand out on the green background. So I'm gonna add some of that yellowish tone, especially because it's gonna make it stand out. Now that I have in place, I added a little bit of foam adhesive behind it just because I wanted to stand out. And then all I'm gonna do is glue the cut file. So like I said, they follow that curvature line, and they kind of nestle the picture in between them. So I started with, when I cut the cut files, I cut 3 different ones, 2 of the same size and one one a little bit smaller. And I'm actually gonna use the smallest one and then one of the bigger ones, I'm gonna say, just because the smallest one, it wasn't gonna cover the picture that much, and it wasn't gonna also take that much space. So the small is gonna go right underneath the picture, and the bigger one towards the side of the picture. And that's pretty much my entire layer. All it has left to do is embellish, and I really love these acetate flowers that come in this collection. Oh my god, these are so beautiful. So I wanted to bring some of that gold tone and some of that really vivid colors. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna kind of add them underneath the fussy cut paper, just kind of coming off the paper. And I thought it was a great place to add the color. I'm not afraid of cutting some of them just to make them fit. And the way I'm gluing it is with a glue dot. And because I have those flowers that are like really deep in color, I'm able to put the glue dot behind it without losing transparency. Once I have that in place, I'm gonna work on my title. And like you're gonna see that I changed the picture. The first picture was my kids with my husband, but the more I worked the layout, I wanted something was just about my husband and I. And he is the love of my life, and we've been together for over 20 years. So I just wanted to make a layout just about him with florals, because florals always go well with anything. So I'm gonna create my title using a combination of the puffy word stickers and also those big white alphas that come in the collection, and it's gonna read "You Always." Once I have that in place, and because I have all that negative space, all that empty space, not empty, well, yeah, the top of the layout is kind of not busy, I'm gonna add my title there, and I'm gonna add just a little heart right next to it. And then I play with some ideas of adding more embellishments, but I really love these phrase stickers, and they actually had those warm tones that I have on the florals. So I'm gonna use just a few, one to complete my title, another one, I'm gonna add them especially in the areas where I have those florals, those acetate florals, and just another one right underneath, I'm gonna say where the two floral pieces meet, the cut files. And that's pretty much it. You're gonna see that I added my landscape journal, and then all I'm gonna do to finish this layout is add some of the little gold enamel dots that come in the mixed embellishment package, and that's about it. This layout did take some time. I'm not gonna say it took no time. It did take some time to put together just because of the mixed media, but I love how this turned out. Make sure you check out the collection. This collection is gorgeous. The cut files, they'll be coming to the shop really soon, and there is quite a few of them to choose from. They're beautiful too. And I hope you try this. If you have any questions on how any of this came together, please don't hesitate to contact me. I would love to help you. And like I said, don't forget to check the collection, and also check the blog. There's another project that I created with the Just Little Lovely collection, and I think you're gonna like it too. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care, guys. Bye bye.